श्रीराघवम् दशरथात्मजमप्रमेयम् सीतापतिम् रघुकुलान्मयरत्नदीपम् आजानुबाहुम् अरविन्ददलायताक्षम् रामम् निशाचर विनाशकरम् नमामि नमामि नमामि
Ramakatha Rasavahini Chapter 14 Part 2. Meanwhile, a few boatmen had gathered. Their eyes fell on the royal chariot as well as on the princely forms of Sita, Rama and Lakshmana. They inferred that they must have come on a picnic, so they hastened to their chieftain Guha and told him that some royal visitors were near. Guha sent a messenger to enquire and ascertain who they were and what their purpose was in the forest by the shore of the Ganga. He brought back the information that they were none other than the sons of Emperor Dasharatha, that the princess was Sita herself, and that they were accompanied by the royal minister Sumantra. Guha felt that the supremely delighted moments should not be enjoyed alone. He informed his kinsmen, comrades and friends that the great Prince Rama had come to the Ganga with his brother and wife. He collected fruits and flowers in plenty, and the entire party proceeded in reverential humility towards the Ganga. Guha placed the fruit and flower offerings at the feet of the royal visitor and fell at Rama's feet, as did his kinsmen and friends. Watching the joy that thrilled them, Rama called Guha near and asked him how they fared and whether they were all happy and peaceful. He asked the chieftain how far his administration was helping the community to prosper. Guha answered, Lord Ramachandra, we have all derived limitless spiritual bliss from beholding your feet. We achieved this great good luck only through merit accumulated by us by good deeds in the past. Or else, could we, who spend our days in this inaccessible forest, ever hope to be blessed by your visit and the sight of your lotus feet? From now on, this region is certain to enjoy plenty and peace, for your feet has trodden the soil. There can be no doubt about this. The transformation is bound to happen. Lakshmana, Sita and Sumantra noted the sincere expression of his joy and the tears of spiritual bliss. They were astonished at his devotion, humility and wisdom. Guha held fast to Rama's feet and said, Lord, all this is yours. All the riches, territory and authority that I have as chieftain as well as all my subjects are yours. They are awaiting your commands. They are at your disposal. usable for your purposes, your services. I am your servant. Accept me as such. Accept all that I am offering and enter the city where we dwell." Rama smiled and replied, "Guha, you are a staunch devotee. You are deeply virtuous. Your heart is very pure. But listen, I should have to roam the forest as an exile, wearing the habiliments of a hermit in obedience to the command of my father. I should not step into a town or city. I must take only the food prescribed for monks engaged in austerities. I have to live in accordance with regulations laid down for ascetics doing penance. For these reasons, I cannot fulfill your wish." Guha was stricken with sorrow. The large gathering of people who had come from the city, Sringivera, whispered among themselves about the divine charm of Rama, Sita and Lakshmana. One of them wondered how the parents of those lovely brothers and that angelic lady could exile them into the forest. How could their tongue ever pronounce such a sentence? At this another retorted, "Keep quiet, you fool. Those parents have really done good. Had they not spoken that sentence, we couldn't have feasted our eyes on the divine forms. This day, our eyes are enjoying a rare festival." This filled many with satisfaction and joy. The Nishada tribesmen who comprised the gathering spoke among themselves words of worshipful admiration of the royal visitors. They extolled the beauty, tenderness, and soft, sweet natures of Sita, Rama, and Lakshmana. Guha was immersed in sorrow that he had lost the fortune of welcoming Rama to the capital city of the Nishadas, whose chieftain he was. He felt that even if the city was seen by Rama, even if his eyes glanced at it once, it would be blessed with peace and prosperity forever. So he suggested that Rama walks up towards a gigantic but gorgeous Shimshupa tree that grew nearby. Rama agreed. Guha knew that Rama's eyes had fallen on the city from that spot. He was pleased at the thought. Rama was also happy when he saw the city from a distance. He allowed the Nishadas to touch his feet and directed them to return to their homes since nightfall was imminent. Then Rama went to the holy rites that had to be observed at dusk. Meanwhile, Guha gathered quantities of soft grass and tender leaves and prepared soft beds. He sent his subjects to collect tubers and fruits, tasty and fresh, from the trees and creepers of the forest and to bring them packed in leaves to be offered to the distinguished visitors. Sita, Rama and Lakshmana ate the frugal meal and retired for rest and sleep. Sita slept on the soft bed of grass. Lakshmana sat at Rama's feet in order to massage them tenderly to relieve the tension of exertion. Rama realized that Lakshmana would continue the service as long as he appeared to be awake, so he pretended to go into deep sleep. Lakshmana feared that any further pressing of the feet might disturb his sleep, and he quietly slipped into the distance. There he sat in the hero posture so that he could gaze intently at the four directions and recognize at once any wild animal approaching the spot, or any demon or demonic person bent upon disturbing Rama's sleep. He was all attention and vigilance. Seeing this, Guha instructed his faithful lieutenants to guard the area and ensure that nothing happened to disturb Rama's sleep. He put a pouch of arrows at his shoulder and, holding the bow in readiness, sat near Lakshmana, eager to share his vigil. Guha, his eyes filled with tears, held his palms folded before him and asked, "Lakshmana, Emperor Dasharatha's palace is, I guess, grander and more magnificent than the divine mansion of the ruler of the gods, Indra. In that palace, everything is charming and beautiful. Everywhere there is fragrance and sweetness, soft feather beds and lamps embossed with precious gems add to the grandeur and comfort of the palace. The beds have sheets light and white like froth on fresh milk and pillows to match. Sita and Rama, who used to sleep on such luxurious beds, are now lying on a grassy heap with no coverlet or pillow, sleeping through sheer physical exertion. It is insufferable agony for me to contemplate this scene. There, his father and mother, his aides and maids were looking after his needs and comforts in various ways. Sita and Rama, who lived royally till yesterday, are now lying on the ground. Alas, my heart is torn to pieces by grief. Sita is the beloved daughter of the world-renowned emperor Janaka, yet she is now lying on a dry grass. What a strange turn of fate is this? Are Sita and Rama fit for life in the forest? Oh, it is now being proved true that the consequences of one's acts are binding in spite of everything else. Kaikeyi is the daughter of the king of Keikaya state. No one can believe that she is capable of this atrociously sinful act. These two are at a period of their lives when they have to be happy together. What a reprehensible act it is to inflict this hard sentence on them. Such a fate should not overtake even one's worst enemy. The Keikaya princess has proved herself to be the axe that would cut asunder the very roots of the tree of the solar dynasty. Her selfish greed has sunk the world in sorrow. Ah, my horrid eyes are destined to look on this pathetic sight. What despicable sin did I indulge in to deserve this punishment? Whose happy life caused my eyes in the past to become red with envy that I had to see my beloved Rama in this plight? Guha wailed, unable to stop the onrush of the surging waves of grief. He kept his mouth shut and sat with head bowed in irrepressible agony. At this, Lakshmana was also plunged in gloom. Lakshmana gathered courage and said, "O chieftain of the Nishadas, one doesn't get happiness through another or become miserable through another. One cannot get good fortune or bad fortune through another. There is no possibility for such indirect means to succeed. Nor can one really be either happy or miserable. Each one comes for some purpose, urged by the potentiality of his acts in previous birth or by some sovereign will and resolution. In the course of fulfilling that purpose, they appear to be happy or miserable. That is all. A beggar dreams he is a king. A king dreams he is a beggar. When they awake, they find that happiness and misery were unreal and short-lived. So too, the world is a dream, unreal, illusory. It is a mixture of truth and falsehood, mithya. You feel sorrow because Rama is in this plight, but Rama is above and beyond grief and joy. For those who watch him, according to good fortune or misfortune, as decided by the merit or demerit acquired and accumulated, he may appear to be happy or miserable. What you see as joy or grief in Rama is only the reflection of your own mental state. At this, Guha calmed himself and gave up his rage against Keikeyi of a little while ago. He understood that it wasn't proper to find fault with another and assign blame. People are all laid up in the sleep of delusion, and they are engaged in witnessing a variety of dreams. This is the way they spend the night called life. Only yogis, self-mastered people, keep awake in the night without being caught up in or enchanted by dreams. They have no use for the world and its contents. They have turned away from all sensual pleasures and entanglements. Until this stage is reached, people cannot refer to themselves as awake. When wisdom is attained and reality is realized, then the bonds of delusion fall off and love is fixed on the lotus feet of Sai Rama. Guha's thoughts ran on in this stream. He was comforted and strengthened by them. Guha and Lakshmana spent the rest of the night telling each other the superhuman attributes of Rama and the fullness of the glory that was latent in him. Dawn came. While one of them stood guard where Rama slept, the other finished his morning ablutions and returned. Soon Rama moved his limbs, rubbed his eyes, and sitting up, looked at the four quarters. He awakened Sita and both wended their way to the river Ganga. After bathing and completing the morning rites, they came back to Guha and Lakshmana. Rama asked Lakshmana to bring a quantity of the milky juice from the ficus tree. Lakshmana moved off without murmur into the forest nearby and without much delay brought with him a leaf bowl full of the juice. Rama applied the juice to the locks of the hair on his head, which turned into a thick matted lump, the like of which is generally worn by hermits. Looking on at this act, Sumantra could not restrain his sobs. He was shocked that the head that had to wear the jeweled crown was now carrying the burden of matted hair. He lamented that his eyes were destined ever to see this tragic sight. His heart was scorched by agony. "O Rama, I can't be with you any longer in the forest. It has become impossible. I have accomplished the orders of the emperor. Fate is cutting short my stay in your presence. He ordered me to take you in the chariot until we arrived on the banks of the holy river, and then leave you there and return. I have to inform you of this fact. Now, it is your turn to tell me what I have to do," said Sumantra, standing before Rama with head bent in sorrow, in humility, tears flowing freely from his eyes. "Don't grieve," Rama said. "Accomplishing the emperor's orders is your duty, and mine too. I am very happy that you carried out the orders he gave you. Thenceforward, I will carry out the orders he has given me. I will follow his directions with the greatest reverence and in scrupulous detail. Don't delay. Return to Ayodhya. My parents will be awaiting your arrival with unbounded anxiety. They are longing to hear your description of your journey so far. So take the chariot back and proceed fast." Sumantra pictured to himself the place he had to go back to. He pleaded pathetically, "Oh Ramachandra, don't let Ayodhya become an orphan city. The emperor will find it difficult to hold himself together in your absence. Bharata will find it impossible to reign." Sumantra fell at Rama's feet, unable to bear his sorrow. Rama lifted him up and, holding him by the shoulder, consoled him. "Sumantra, no principle of righteousness is higher than truth. The Vedas, the Puranas, the epics, all assert and proclaim this, as you know. Now, I have been assigned the task of following this supreme principle of righteousness. What great good fortune this is! If I miss this chance and lose this fortune, I and my dynasty will earn eternal infamy in all three worlds. Infamy will burn the righteous more excruciatingly than 1,000,000 deaths and cremations. Go, fall at my father's feet and make clear to him my determination and joy. You must be vigilant to see that my father is not worried about me, Sita and Lakshmana." Guha and his followers heard Rama's words and were visibly affected by them. Without being aware of it, they started shedding tears. Lakshmana couldn't bear the anguish and uttered a few words of anger and bitterness against those who had caused this tragedy. But Rama realized his temper and stopped him forthwith. Then he turned to Minister Sumantra. "Sumantra, Lakshmana is a stripling. Don't attach importance to his words. Don't communicate them to father. Lakshmana's mind is undergoing such suffering because he has great affection for me and because he is affected by the troubles that afflict Sita." He gave vent to such expressions for he has a mistaken notion about those who sent me to the forest in exile. By nature, Lakshmana is endowed with very good qualities. And Rama began to describe the virtues of his brother. Sumantra raised his head and pleaded with Rama. O Lord, Sita is tender and soft-natured. She cannot brave the travails of forest life. Advise her to return to the city and convince her that it is the proper thing to do. She is the life breath of Ayodhya. She is the goddess of prosperity for the empire. If she cannot come to Ayodhya, the inhabitants will suffer like fish in a dry tank. Let her return and reside as she desires with her mother-in-law or her parents. The emperor commanded me again and again to tell you this in these very words. When you return to Ayodhya at the end of the 14 years, Sita could be brought from her father's palace. While Sumantra was importuning in this manner, Rama signed to Sita as if to draw her attention to his yearning and prayer. When Sumantra had concluded, Rama addressed Sita. Sita, did you listen to father's message? Go home and let my parents forget at least a part of the agony they feel at my separation. In their old age, they are too weak to put up with this terrible situation. So, you must go back with the minister to Ayodhya. Rama used various other arguments to persuade her to accept the request of father. Sita replied, Lord, you are omniscient. You know the ideal moral conduct prescribed for each section of mankind. I don't need to remind you. Please listen for a while to my prayer. The shadow has to follow the substance. Can it be away from it? Solar rays cannot exist separate from the sun. Moonlight cannot exist separate from the moon. Similarly, this Sita shadow cannot live and exist after leaving Ramachandra, the Rama moon. She turned to Sumantra. Sumantra, to me you are as venerable as my father and father-in-law. You are my well-wisher. Please consider this. I don't seek any other refuge except the lotus feet of my Lord. The world knows that the daughter-in-law who is brought into the family cannot be any nearer than the son born in the family. The statement that they will forget their agony at the separation of the son if the daughter-in-law return has no meaning. Regarding the wealth and comfort of my father's palace, I have enjoyed them enough in my childhood days. Now they appear to me as dry and as cheap as grass without my Lord being with me. I have no other path except the path that he treads. Therefore, without misunderstanding me, please agree to my words. Drop your attempt to take me back to Ayodhya. Forget it. Convey my prostrations to my parents-in-law and assure them that there is no cause for anxiety about us. Tell them that Sita is happy, many thousand times happier than when she was in Ayodhya or Mithila. I am with the Lord of my heart, with a great hero, the best of warriors. So, I pass these days in the forest happily, undisturbed by fear, anxiety, or agitation of mind. Tell them I am not tired in the least by the journey, that I am very happy, that I consider this exile a great piece of good fortune. Sumantra was so overwhelmed with admiration and grief that he couldn't look up at Sita's face. He couldn't listen any more to such profoundly moving words. He couldn't himself find words to speak to her. He reflected on her virtues, pure feelings, and steadfastness. He deplored the fate that deprived Ayodhya of the presence and inspiration of a lady of such supreme character. He spoke to Rama. Rama, in that case, please accept one prayer. Keep me with you in the forest and allow me to serve you for the 14 years. Rama replied, Sumantra, you are well versed in the law and the rules of morality. You are the minister of Emperor Dasharatha, not a minister under me. It was he who commanded you to come back, So how can I permit you to stay? Even otherwise, it is not desirable for you to stay away from the emperor right now. You are as his right hand. Don't pay attention to your own happiness and try to keep away from him. Go to him without further delay. Going soon would give him and my parents a great deal of consolation and assurance. Rama persuaded him to go, using various other arguments and examples. Finding it impossible to resist, Sumantra wept aloud and prostrated before the three. His steps were heavy and hesitant when he turned back. Both his mind and his body were unwilling. Rama caught his hand and helped him to walk to the chariot and ascend to his seat. Rama spoke sweetly and softly to him as well as to the horses of the chariot to induce them to proceed towards Ayodhya. End of Chapter 14, Part 2. Sai Ram.
सीता राम सीता राम सीता राम राम सीता राम सीता राम सीता राम श्री राम जी की महिमा अपार राम जी की महिमा अपार सुन लो तो बेड़ा पार सुन लो तो बेड़ा पार श्री राम जी की महिमा अपार नयना मुखारविंदा श्यामल छवि अति सुंदर राम करुणा स्वरूप श्री राम निर्मल स्वभाव श्री राम करुणा स्वरूप निर्मल स्वभाव भक्तों के प्राण गुणशीलवान नीरज नयना मुखारविंदा श्यामल छवि अति सुंदर राम रविकुल मंडन दशरथ नंदन मुनि मनरंजन नयन विराम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम जी की महिमा अपार राम जी की महिमा अपार जय जय श्री राम जय जय श्री राम जय जय श्री राम जिनकी कृपा ने आखर बितारे एक ही बाण ने दुष्ट संहारे जिनकी कृपा ने पाथर बितारे एक ही बाण ने दुष्ट संहारे चरणों की धूल ने पापी उठारे जन्मदिन उन्हीं का मना लो आज जन्मदिन उन्हीं का मना लो आज मुबारक हो सबको जन्मदिन की रात रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। राम सीता राम सीता राम सीता राम, राम सीता राम